Hello and welcome to our 5 o'clock session. I hope you've all had a nice cup of tea and you're back on and ready to watch Sherene talk about her business and how she's grown it. So as always, Facebook is allowing some comments. We're not quite sure what they are allowing and what not allowing. It still seems to be a bit glitchy, but the actual presentations have worked fine all day, so that's a really good place to be. So please put your comments in, put them on StreamYard with your name, or alternatively put them in the Facebook group and we'll get back to you later and answer any questions you've got if we haven't managed to do it during the live broadcast. And obviously everybody that gets in the comments with good questions and everything for the presenters goes into the prize draw to win £1,500 worth of career coaching. So please keep asking. If you're watching on replay, please pop a hashtag in so that we know that you've been to join us. So yes, I'm going to introduce you to Sherene Headley. So I met Sherene by following interesting people on LinkedIn. I think that's really important to say because both Dinah and Joe yesterday spoke about the importance of making your profile stand out on LinkedIn. And you know, I love to look at what people are doing, what people are thinking, what are the thought leaders saying. I follow all those things on LinkedIn, and I saw Sherene's name come up a couple of times in people's comments, and she looked a really interesting person. So I reached out. And I'm so glad I did. So she has a full-time job, but she had a dream, and she has finally, you know, she got out of her comfort zone quite recently, really, and decided that she would do something about making that dream a reality. And she really has made it happen. And so I'm going to let her tell the story. But you know, if you're interested in things like crowdfunding and really developing that resilience to do what you know you're capable of, then Sherene is definitely the person to listen to. So I'll just bring her in. Hello. There you are.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you. When I was first asked to speak at this brilliant event that not only encourages change but self-development, I jumped at the chance because nothing brings me more joy than seeing people actively take control and follow their dreams. I chose to use this opportunity to speak about what I call the don't get stuck mindset, because it was precisely this that drove me to start my shoe business. For those of you that may not know, well, I'm Sherene Headley. I'm the founder and CEO of MOKKAH, a footwear brand for women who wear large size shoes. But I haven't always been in this sector. At the beginning of my working life, I was always the youngest in the room. I worked for a bookmaker, a housing association, and a university. And in each of these settings, I met people with what I call a stuck mindset. Lovely people who started in jobs, but didn't mean to stay as long as they did, felt that they were in too deep in a particular industry and that they weren't able to move out from it. Generally, they were amazing, but they were in jobs that maybe they fell out of love with, and they'd spent the majority of their lives doing, which wasn't making them happy. And that they all felt, which was common amongst all of them, that they felt that they were capable of a lot more at one stage in their life. And this may be some of you right now, but I want to assure you that the stuck mindset is exactly that. It's a mindset. It's something that we can actually control. When I started to notice this pattern in people, and when they actually started to turn to me and say, this will be you in a few years, I thought, no, I don't want that for myself. But in 3 consecutive jobs, I was told that by numerous colleagues that just weren't happy where they were. And I didn't realize at the time, how much it was ingrained into me. I then had a fear of being stuck. And this is what pushed me to be able to continue and be able to start what it was now, MOKKAH. With each job, I noticed that when it got to the 2-year mark, I had itchy feet. I was always like, okay, what can I do next? What avenue can I venture down? Trying so hard to not get stuck until I hit a brick wall. I was working at the university within the housing division, and it had got to a point where I was like, okay, well, I would like to move on. I would like to start something new. And months of job applications came, and I wasn't even getting to the interview stages, which at the time I wasn't used to. I felt stuck. The very thing that I was worried about being is exactly where I was. And I felt down. I felt that I'd pigeonholed myself to a point where I was no longer a desirable candidate. I thought about going back to university and studying for PGCE because becoming a teacher was once a childhood dream of mine. But then I realized it was more kids I loved than actually teaching. I took some time out at that point because I'd had application fatigue, which I'm sure some of you know exactly what that is and how that feels. I sat and thought to myself, what job could I do for the rest of my life that would truly satisfy me, that would uplift me and excite me every day, and that a job that I'd never feel stuck in. And it was creating my own shoe brand. I had no experience in fashion. That I was going through. So although I had no experience, I was driven by my love for shoes, and it was that made me happy. And shoes have always brought a smile to my face, and it was always my go-to present for friends and family for their birthdays, for Christmas. I got myself a business mentor, started educating myself on business just so that I could get to a stage where I felt confident. Now, MOKKAH isn't just any footwear brand. It's a footwear brand exclusively for women who wear large size shoes, so from size 8 to 12, the often forgotten woman. My mom actually told me when I came out the womb, the first thing the nurse said was how big my feet were. Well, the joke's on her now because I have a footwear brand, just especially for us. Growing up, I really struggled coming to terms with my shoe size. I was insecure, I was embarrassed, and in many ways felt robbed of my femininity because I couldn't just walk into a shop and pick up my shoes, pick up a size 10 or 11, which is what I am, and just walk out. Women's shoe stores didn't have my size, not because they were out of stock, but because I didn't meet their ideal. What was exciting me about this idea of creating this brand was knowing that the sense of empowerment women would feel being able to buy a great quality pair of shoes that was made for them. Finding my why was easy for me because I had a personal connection with the product, with the values. I had my own experience. But the stuck mindset can follow you and manifest in different areas of your life in different situations. Now, I still work full time, as Denise said, in my 9 to 5, but no longer feel stuck in that role because MOKKAH is my end goal. But last year, the idea of being stuck boiled down to my own self-limiting beliefs, which was keeping me in a box. I knew that this brand could be amazing because of all the things it stood for, but my mindset wasn't positive. Now, we are the most critical of ourselves. And I know I'm speaking to someone out there when I say that, because the things we say to ourselves and the experiences we may have had in the past, we allow them to follow us going forward, which can keep us in a mental block, in a place of safety, not necessarily happiness, but safety because we're too scared to confront what really keeps us in that box. In May 2020, so just last year, I took part in NatWest's Back Her Business initiative, where in 5 weeks I raised just over £13,000 via crowdfunding. I've never done anything more terrifying than the crowdfund. It was purely online as we were in lockdown. And I shot my crowdfund video in my room and told the world what size shoe I took, the emotional journey I went through growing up, most of which were unknown to my family. And for those 5 weeks, I kept pushing the brand, my story on all social media platforms that I was familiar with, and let down the biggest wall I ever had growing up in an effort to change my mindset and knock down those self-limiting beliefs, which in tandem helped me help women feel great about themselves. Me stepping out of my comfort zone really helped those do the same, which was one of the biggest takeaways I had. I had no clue how I was going to raise the funds. I didn't know how I was going to raise the first £1,000, let alone 13,000. I just did it, and I guess that's the power in believing in yourself. Now, becoming an entrepreneur isn't for everyone. Not everyone was made to be an entrepreneur and run their own businesses, but facing your own limiting beliefs and being determined to do what you love is something we could all achieve for ourselves. I launched MOKKAH on March the 1st, 2021, 9 months after the crowdfund ended. And so far we have 3 styles. I'll just show you. This is Nicole. These were all named after women who I met during my crowdfund that really gave me some great feedback on design and their insight into their experiences and stuff like that. So I thought it would be nice to name them after the shoes that they particularly liked. So this was for Nicole, which is after a lady in Arizona. This is Rosie, a young girl studying at university that was quite shy about her shoe size. And this one is Sabrina, a lady from London who she spends so much on shoes she spends so much on shoes and then had to send them all back because they don't fit and all that sort of stuff. And she just was brilliant. So I named this shoe after her. I just got the stuffing in there to keep the shape. And this is a shoe that's actually going to come out tomorrow. So it's another colorway for Rosie, but you guys getting a little exclusive there because no one's seen it yet. We are an online business, mokkahshoes.co.uk, and we ship worldwide. And the reason why I say this is because I've gone from the girl who used to hide her shoes in her bag when visiting friends' houses, just so that no one would think, what size is she? You know, where did she get those shoes from and stuff? I didn't want any attention to my feet. To now having a business where I cater to women who were once that insecure little girl. And now I also teach others how to start their own footwear brand. If I could leave you with 3 things today, it would be to take some time out to find out what truly makes your heart sing. Look at some of your own limiting beliefs and try and identify where it came from. And always remember that if you ever feel stuck in a job or in a hole, it's often a mindset that you have the power to control. I'm Sherene Headley, founder and CEO of MOKKAH, and it's been a pleasure speaking to you all today. I'll hand back over to Denise.
Oh, that was brilliant. Excellent. What a journey, eh? What a journey.
Yeah, it is.
Do you think for you, because there was that personal piece that you had, was that the big thing you had to overcome first? Like the sharing the shoe size, that was a massive leap for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I started researching and surrounding myself about business and all those things. And I felt like I was slowly on that journey to being confident, but then I still felt like I was still hesitant about saying my shoe size. I was still hesitant about when people then said, oh, so what size are you? About actually saying it aloud. It was the crowdfund that made me do it. And to be honest, if I didn't have mentors, I have to say, because I know you're a champion for coaches, obviously, and mentors. And if it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't have done the crowdfund all now, because I had to really uncover what it was that was keeping me from doing this. And I knew I had to do it because I didn't have the capital to be able to start the footwear brand independently. So once I pushed past that and just got it out there, that was the biggest obstacle I had. And after that, and I got everybody's responses, and I have to say, you know, you find out that strangers are so much more supportive of you than people that you even know. Like, it's beautiful on social media. And I know if everyone says that, but I really felt it firsthand. People were donating to the crowdfund that I didn't even know, all because the story, they might not be related to it, but they could understand it and think, wow, like what does happen to these women that go above a size 8 or even a size 7? Because I was going to start at a size 9, but a lot of women who are a size 8 said, no, we need shoes as well. So that's why I started at an 8. But that was my biggest hurdle. And ever since then, when people ask me, I'm like, yeah, I'm a size 10, I'm a size 11, or because I'm a different, depending on the shoe. So, and I can just say it now, and I don't feel any, nothing's going on in here, shall I say? Nothing's going on in here when I say it. Before I used to have anxiety, but now I don't. Yeah, it's been a beautiful experience, both personally and professionally.
And so are you doing everything yourself? Have you got people in to help you? How are you managing it?
So everything's myself, and I use like freelancers in terms of, so if I need, because I don't have the fashion know-how, if I kind of have my ideas for footwear, so I have a freelance footwear designer who can put my ideas in to make it make sense to manufacturer. The marketing and stuff I'm doing myself. I'm trying to educate myself on how to use Instagram to the best of its ability. I'm trying to educate myself on a bit on Facebook, because I'm not that big a user on Facebook, so I'm trying to slowly get there. But yeah, everything is my responsibility, and I just outsource where I can, which has been a saving grace also, because we can't, one thing about in business that people get snowed under is when they try and do everything themselves, and people spend years getting to the expertise that they do. So we can't do it in 2 months and think that it's going to be great, because, you know, there's people that have learned it, and it's a much better use of your time to outsource than it is for you to do it. Even though people try and save money, it's always better to outsource if it's going to take too much time.
And where are you having the shoes manufactured?
So the first 2 shoes, it's actually funny because originally I was going to be manufacturing all shoes in Portugal. Then COVID hit. So unfortunately, I didn't pick the best year to do all of this, but hey ho, it is what it is. When I was going to I was going to manufacture in Portugal, I went to the factory, everything, met them. I was like, yeah, this is great. But unfortunately, COVID meant that they had to close down. So they closed down their factory, and it was mid crowdfund. I had pre-orders come through, and I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And then managed to connect with somebody else who works with factories in China. So the first 2 shoes, which was this one and this one, they were made in China. But now I have my proper manufacturers, the manufacturer I'm going to do using going forward, where the loafers are made, and that's in Turkey. So so the shoes from here on will be from Turkey.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how big do you see the range getting, Sherene? Have you got that destination picture in your mind yet?
I would love, after I've you know, got enough, I guess, ready to wear type shoes, I would love to be able to do the same size market but bridal, because women brides in big shoes, if you can't find shoes on a day-to-day, you definitely can't find it if you're getting married. And I've read a lot of people getting married in trainers because they can't find nice looking shoes, and that's something that I would love to be able to do and give to people on their day. And then but the ultimate dream would be to obviously have that women's line, but also have a men's one for the same size range, in a sense of larger sizes, not 8 to 12, but probably starting at a size 12. And I would love to go into children's wear, where it will be for children. Kids are growing up, they're getting a lot taller, they're a lot bigger. And I would love to be able to make shoes for children that are larger, but are still children's shoes. Because when I was growing up, when I hit a certain size, my shoes got very adult before I did. Yeah. And it was very obvious you were wearing different shoes and you felt left out. And I would love to be able to do that for children. And so that when they do have that transition, it's not as painful as it may be for like people like myself when we grew up, having to deal with those emotions so harshly. At least if they have nice shoes to be able to transition into as they get older, that will be able to help them accept their shoe size and also promote self-love.
I love that. And how have you promoted your range so far? What have you done to get it out into the market?
So I've been having a little trial and error through Facebook ads, because as I said, I'm new to it. I haven't found the person that I'm going to use yet for marketing at the moment. So I've been doing that. I've been on Instagram, recently started tweeting a bit more, and also LinkedIn. So Instagram and LinkedIn were my focuses when I did my crowdfund. So I've been focusing on those 2 for now. And I hope to be able to then include Pinterest and areas like that to be able to promote the brand.
And do you see yourself going into retail and supplying into retail?
I would love to be able to go for women who wear larger sizes, to be able to go into a store and be able to buy shoes from a store that other people buy from. It would mean the world. Like, I think that a lot of people think it's just about shoes when it's not. It's about femininity. It's about inclusivity and identity. It's about so much more for us, because we haven't been made to feel as part of a unit. we're kind of like the forgotten pieces of the puzzle, or the pieces that no one cares about, or the jokers that you take out of a playing cards because you're not going to use them for when you're actually going to dish out. So to be able to be part of a unit and be able to go into places like obviously because I'm doing a premium brand, so if you was even to be able to go into places like Selfridges and pick up a pair of MOKKAHs and walk out with a Selfridges bag knowing that you've bought a pair of shoes, it does so much for a woman and in this cohort, and to be able to do that would be amazing. So I would definitely going to reach for the stars, and hopefully I can hopefully sit amongst it.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you will. I have no doubt. All the times we've spoken, I just you inspire me every time. So yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your story, and we will be in touch. But if any comments will come through, people watching, but there's no actual sort of ideal questions on the things we've talked about yet. No, all people just liking what you do. Amazing idea. So yeah, but if anything comes through, then I'll obviously share it with you. And thank you so much for sharing your story.
Perfect. Thank you, Denise.
Bye, Sherene. Bye-bye. Bye. Okay. Wow. It just goes on, doesn't it? The inspiration. So at 6:30, I'm going to be joined by Tracy Salisbury of CV Prime. And Tracy's got a massive wealth of experience in HR, all things people, in all sorts of sectors, really wide-ranging sectors, but now has her own business, and she helps people sometimes in things like outplacement, but she has a business called CV Prime. And she's going to come and talk a lot with you about what she looks to ask when she's developing a CV for people going onto the job market, and how she works with people. So back at 6:30, and see you then.